Hey everyone, and welcome back to a Security Token Show interview. We've got the best guy in tokenized real estate, Ed Nwokedi. Ed, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, Kyle, thank you. Thanks for having me. Good morning to you.
We are kicking off 2024, and the momentum is kicking up. Not only are we seeing more excitement for Web3 in general, but technology and interest rates are coming down, so the market might be coming back a little bit. Everything seems poised for us to break out into an exciting year, and RedSwan certainly has been capitalizing on that momentum as well. I'm really excited to dive in, but just what's going on with you? How are you?
I'm doing well. Of course, you see I'm wearing my Michigan colors because I'm looking forward to West Michigan kicking some butt this evening. So go blue.
Go blue.
No, it is exciting. The momentum in the industry is just awesome. We are on our way to Zurich, Switzerland, and then on to St. Moritz for the crypto finance conference, which is taking place there on the 10th through the 14th. And that's going to be awesome because that's a very exclusive conference with about 250 of the largest names in the industry. And we have time to go hobnob with some of our friends there and some of the business colleagues and partners we're working with. But then after that, we're going to the famous World Economic Forum in Davos, where RedSwan is going to be speaking on a panel. Actually, we're speaking on a panel, but also presenting to an audience of investors and wealthy people who are there to learn more about real-world asset tokenization. So I'm extremely excited about it. We have our presentation ready. We're going to do a demonstration of our client who invited us. They have a portfolio of eco-tourist hotel properties, beachfront properties. And so we're actually going to demonstrate a little bit about RedSwan, but then demonstrate how the audience can actually express interest in his asset live on stage. So this is like a perfect opportunity for RedSwan to actually get additional global recognition at the biggest stage on earth, which is the Davos World Economic Forum. So yeah, it's an awesome opportunity and looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. I want to dig into that a little bit more. So your presentation, without giving too much away, you're demonstrating the process of issuing a token, or what is the goal for, first off, what type of crowd are you expecting at Davos, and what are you trying to convey to them?
So the title of the event, and this is for an hour and a half in Davos, and it's called the House of Trust, which is one of the major venues in Davos. And so the owner of that venue actually is an investor himself in certain hotel-type property, ecotourism properties. And so he's asked us to come in and, first of all, talk about RedSwan just for about 10, 15 minutes. But then we're going to highlight his assets that he's tokenized, he's raising capital on. So we're going to tokenize his assets. So what we've done is we've already set his projects up on our platform, and we're going to have a QR code where people just scan the QR code, and it'll walk them through how they would actually register and go to the property and then look at the property and then express interest, a dollar interest in that asset. And so that will give us now kind of a Excel version list of all the members who paid attention and participated, and also how much they express interest for. So this gives the sponsor a head start on raising capital for his particular $30 million project. So, but that also gives us great exposure for them to see our technology at work, and we get to talk about what we're doing and how much success we've had. So I just think it's a great way for the room full of very, very wealthy and VIP individuals to learn about RedSwan, since they're coming from all around the globe. I'm hoping that's going to bring the right type of clientele we're looking for strategic partners.
It makes a ton of sense to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, you certainly would know better based off of all of your expressed interactions with some of these larger institutional asset managers. Do they have mandates to participate and explore and research and invest and allocate into the tokenized environments for some of their asset classes? Or how does that work? What goes through their mind, and what's attractive to them in this process?
Well, what we learned when we were in Singapore at the Singapore FinTech Festival last year was that a number of the major institutions like JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Fidelity, and many more are looking at the digital asset space very hard, especially real world assets, and they're setting up low-level mandates to convert some of their assets under management to digital assets under management. And that's from anything from the financial instruments like bonds and mutual funds, which you see Franklin Templeton already coming out with their Benji bonds, but also hard real world assets like real estate. So they're setting the bar like 5% over the next 5 years to convert 5% of their assets under management into digital assets. So that tells us that in their 5% overall is probably 25% of real estate that they have in their portfolio today. So you're talking to companies that have a couple $1 trillion of assets. They want to convert 5%, and a certain percentage of that is real estate. That tells us there's hundreds of millions of dollars, not billions of dollars, for the real estate that they need by the next 5 years. And so that's where we see a demand to meet that need. I mean, it'd be much easier for them to come to RedSwan and sign up for our fund. And, we just go ahead and place their dollars directly into the assets that we put into our fund, and that will fulfill their requirement. And we think the more players we can get at that level, the stronger we can build ourselves on the demand side. And then from there, when you start seeing institutions buying into our product, we think that the retail public will also start coming in as well, so they don't miss out on the opportunity.
And how many steps, or what steps do you take to make sure that the assets that you've onboarded fit that institutional grade requirement for the types of assets? Because I'd imagine that could be a potential point of difficulty for maybe a lesser qualified broker than yourself. So could you talk us through that process a little bit?
Yeah, well, for a lesser qualified, you're right, but luckily we are qualified. We've had 20 years of experience in institutional type real estate with Cushman and Wakefield, so I know exactly what an institutional type property is. And quite frankly, if you look on RedSwan's platform, all the assets we go after have been institutional quality and size. But now we're going after, like you saw from the $4 billion assignment in the Middle East, but we're going after larger allocations. We're talking to companies here in the United States that have pools of 300 million, 400 million of assets. I'm not asking for one or two anymore. I'm asking for a portfolio because that's what's going to be exciting to these bigger clients, these institutional clients. They rather cut a check for $500 million than cut a check for $50 million. So we are trying to make sure that these sponsors we're going after have either $1 billion or more in terms of assets under management, and we start with a small portfolio of that, or right away we start off with a big chunk of their portfolio and tokenize it. This just gives us a little bit more economy of scale because we're not the largest company in terms of people power, but we definitely can handle a lot more when we're looking at a customer that has a bigger pool, because it's just much easier to do all the homework, to do all the legal work for one customer as opposed to 50 smaller customers looking to raise 10 or $15 million. We're kind of not moving away from it and saying no, but our target is to start from the top and work down rather than the bottom and work up.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And starting at the top is spearheaded with this property that you've been working on over the course of the last few quarters based in the MENA region. Could you just remind our viewers about some of the real estate properties that you have on your platform and some of these kind of the crown jewels of the RedSwan portfolio?
Yeah, we have independent assets, which are developers, multifamily projects that have been built by developers, and now they're looking to recapitalize. We have office, triple net like the Disney project. We have another portfolio of Chevron stations with a portfolio. They're all AAA or triple net with Chevron. We have this new portfolio from the Middle East that is roughly 36 assets, about $4 billion worth of stabilized assets, as well as owned land for redevelopment. And I think that's great because that actually helps boost the IRR of the portfolio and the cash on cash yield, because they're going to take the proceeds that we raise from their stabilized assets of equity and then put it into developing some of those land lots into high-rise developments, which now will increase the revenue, of course, but also increase the value and the IRR. So, and we're going after projects that have resi mortgages, for example, is a client of ours that that does a lot of resi mortgages to the tune of $4 billion assets under management, and they want to place a package of those mortgages to recapitalize on our platform. So these are the types of deals we're looking at, and we've got under control, and we see a lot more coming on, especially as we look overseas. There's a lot of people call me from Mexico. I'll be going to Mexico next month. As soon as we get back from Davos, because there's a pool of assets there that about 15 assets we're going to tokenize. The nearshoring in Mexico is hot, hot, hot. And so we want to put a pool of those assets on our platform. So when you start adding all these things together, this is exactly what the major institutions would want to buy into. It's a variety of projects with really top quality sponsors, has good, strong yield, and is diversified and is large. So they can write a check for, $50 million to, $500 million in order to get allocations of these different types of assets. And because of that, more and more of these assets will keep coming to our platform. More people will call, we get the vet, and we know exactly what they're looking for. So that's what we're going to go after, is those types of assets.
Right. And the exciting thing about working with you for so long now is I've been able to see this progression and growth of the business, not only with how the narrative has become much more focused and clear because of the strong feedback you're receiving, validation from your target market, which I think gives even more solidity and confidence that you're on the right track. Not that you were certainly lacking in any of those fields prior, but it helps to have traction, right? But on top of that, even just having a lot of different types of assets on your platform and a lot of different clients. So could you talk about the momentum that you've seen over Q4 and into Q1? I know that the team's growing and you have some additional market segments. Just kind of give us the rundown since the last time you and I talked. What's new?
Well, I mean, we're going after revenue. So revenue is growing for the company, which is good, is it allows us to fund our technology growth and build our tech stack, but also add new team members. We're still very frugal, so we're not paying top salaries. But the team is growing. We're now up to 25 members between here and Africa. Yeah. So we just had a kickoff call 2 days, or was it Friday? We had everybody on the Zoom call, and it was kind of unusual because everybody hadn't seen everybody in a long time. Usually I'm the one interfacing with all the different segments, but now we had them all on the screen and like looking and say, wow, this is interesting. But our Nigeria team, which is RedSwan Africa, I'm really excited about them. There was a major announcement from the Nigerian government. They now released or removed the ban on blockchain technology. They had a ban on any digital assets, crypto, and they were actually arresting people who were getting involved in it because they were fearful that it was going to ruin the economy. But now they realize that this is something that they should be in favor of and encouraging people to build the economy. So they removed the ban, and now they're progressive about blockchain technology and digital assets.
Cool.
So that's a huge win because, of course, Nigeria is the largest economy in the continent of Africa. So what the government does there, all the other countries are going to follow. Sure. And we're already sitting really nicely with our office there. We've made contact with like the equivalent of the FINRA in the United States. We're working with the FINRA of Nigeria. It has about 350 broker-dealers who are licensed. So we're excited about where that's going to go. And I think we're poised as being the only company in that entire continent that's focused on digital real estate. So we think that there's going to be a lot of collaboration there. But momentum in general is strong. We're seeing that institutions are now calling us to have meetings to talk about what we're doing, what they're interested in as well. We're on the supply side as well as on the demand side. So that's just telling me that I think 2024 is going to be a pivotal year for growth and for leveraging the relationships and kicking off this event at Davos and at the crypto finance conference. I think is going to help a lot because we're already set up meetings with a lot of institutional companies who are interested in the space, who have massive amount of real estate and or cash, and that's great. I mean, for example, the panel we're doing in Davos includes a large VC from India, also a large property owner from Dubai. It also includes Dr. Lehman Baird, the co-CEO and founder of Hedera, and then RedSwan. So those are the members of that panel, and also the sponsor, who's also a property owner who lives in Switzerland, he'll be moderating the panel. So these are good signs that things are changing. We're still not overspending. We're still trying to maintain our budget, but we're looking for strategic partners that can come in a meaningful way and add value to RedSwan.
And so where do you think that they're the most excited? What part of this process? Because, I know RedSwan, we've covered, you guys do so many different components because it seems like different vendors or clients or institutions you work with may have different priorities. But are you seeing a common thread amongst where are they valuing more allocating into new assets, or are they maybe weighting higher the opportunity to get liquidity on some of their existing assets? Where are you finding most of the excitement around?
Well, I think the most exciting that we've been, nurturing for the past couple of years is property owners who are in need of capital right now. Capital formation is tight. Interest rates, have risen 450 basis points in the past 2 years, and so their property values have gone down as a result of that. And getting new loans has been tough because the banks are now being more conservative. Their LTV or LTC is much lower, 50 to 60%, as opposed to 60 to 75, 85%. That's significant. And also they realize the cap rates are much higher, which means the value is much lower. So now a property owner coming in to refinance their asset, they're faced with a significant void or gap in terms of funding. Whereas, let's say they received $50 million before from the bank, and their asset was worth $80 million. The bank is now saying, look, we'll give you $30 million because we think that the asset has gone down from 80 to 60. So here's $30 million. That's a huge gap. Most people, that means they have to come out of their pocket with cash in order to get a new loan, right? And so that's usually hand over the keys, or they're looking for some kind of rescue capital. So we see that as a significant advantage for investors coming in, because they're now being able to buy at better price points to bring rescue liquidity to the sponsors. So that's one side that I see a lot of demand for, and we're really saying no to a lot of the stuff that we think is too highly distressed, and saying yes to the people who have more capital and also a large portfolio, because we want to save them before they have to put a lot of cash into their assets. So that's one. But yeah, I mean, it's just in general, there's a lot of momentum in the industry, and we're just trying to capture it. And also with the demand side, when you see institutions saying we want to allocate, at least 5% of our portfolio to be digital assets going by 2030. And so if that's the case, then that's a lot of billions, if not trillions of dollars of real estate that they would like to see move into the digital side.
Is that a common mandate for them, for institutions to have?
That is a mandate. I mean, Fidelity has a mandate. So, and they all follow each other. So Fidelity says we have a mandate for 5% of our assets to be digital.
Well, then we're going to have a mandate for 5%.
Exactly.
Too.
Everybody's going to follow suit. So I think that tells us that there's demand, and we should go after that demand from the top and cut a deal where they can help us, we help them. They need to, find $500 million worth of digital real estate. They've come to the right place. We just happen to have, 5 or 10 billion right now. Right. We can sell you, and we'll be getting more, so you can have continued growth in that area.
Cool. And so not only are you trying to capture this with respect to assets onboarded to the platform, probably close to, if not well over $5 billion now between not only the Middle Eastern properties, but all the other assets that you're working with. You're trying to capture revenue through all these different sectors. But then, of course, we have the crowdfund. So could you just give us an update on how that's going and your work in working with retail investors, which is a fickle community that certainly looks and acts and feels very different than the Davos institutional investor. So what has that process been like for you, and how is that going?
That's actually going well. I'm glad we're working with companies like yourself that have been helping us market. I mean, the strategy was initially come out and let people know who we are, what we're doing, and how we're leading the space, and learn about some of the interesting partnerships we're bringing on board. But also, and we're seeing a lot of activity from that. We have quite a bit of money that's been already closed out in our platform, so we're taking in capital. But the list of commitments, like you said before, is pretty strong. We have over 300 committed people to invest, and they've given us a dollar amount that they want to invest. And so we still have 90 days left before we close this out. So I think the raise is going extremely well for the Reg CF, but I'm also made a personal mandate for myself, which is to go after on the side a Reg D allocation for strategic investors. So as I'm going to Davos and also just talking to people here in the United States that I think are capable of writing $1 million check, I'm trying to raise directly $5 to $10 million of investors, people I think are going to be more strategic to us. We took on a partnership with TaxBit, which is also very exciting because they are the financial authority on financials and tax returns for digital assets. And I think if you align yourself with the best, we now can give our customers a full, complete, compliant solution, right? We got EY here helping us with our analysis, with our consulting and our tax arrangements for putting offshore accounts together and whatnot. We have TaxBit who's helping with making sure that as people buy and sell, that they're being traced and they can now actually have a very, very realistic K1 at the end of the year and 1099 if necessary. But these are relationships. We have Hedera, who's actually helping us to build security tokens on the Hedera platform so that their whole network can actually buy security tokens with their stablecoin. We're working with some others that are in banks that are doing the same thing. So this is exciting stuff. And this tells me that we're in the right position to really capitalize on it. We just have to stay cool and take our time and grow with the momentum that's taking place right now.
Love it, man. Love it, man. That's all really, really exciting stuff. And so you're going to be on a continued media tour. So everybody's going to see you in person, potentially, if they can meet up in Switzerland. But we have a whole lot of additional content that we'll keep firing off. So everybody can check it out here. Where do we find you? What do you want the general audience to know about RedSwan? What are the closing thoughts?
Well, closing thoughts is, we have this event coming up in February on the 20th, hopefully, and I know that you may be moderating this event, so I'm looking forward to that. And that's our AMA, Ask Us Anything, about digital tokenization. We're really inviting the largest real estate owners to that event because we think that they have lots of questions about how tokenization can benefit them. So we're looking forward to that to be an extremely positive event. Also bring our VIP investors there. I think that that's really important for people to really understand because there are a lot of questions out there as to how this helps me. So I think anybody who's interested in learning more should attend that event that's going to happen on the 20th. It's in our brand new headquarters at the ION building, which is a Rice University-owned facility. And it should be fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing you, but also property owners and interested VIP investors at that event.
And to find more info on that, is it on your website or should we have a link in the description? What's the best way to find it? Is there an Eventbrite? How should we?
Yeah, good question. There will be an Eventbrite. There'll also be blasts coming from Security Token Network.
That's for
from
sure.
RedSwan.
We'll be blasting it out everywhere.
We're just getting it put together right now, but by next week you start seeing the advertisement hit the street. And so
follow RedSwan on socials, and you can't miss it. Certainly, if they already follow us, they'll find it there too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ed, thank you so much. As always, this is a pleasure. And this one, we wanted to make it short, sweet, impactful, targeting institutions. As we roll in through 2024 here, we're definitely going to get another one of these or two in before you, or right after potentially you get back from your travel, because it's so crazy for you. But thank you as always for being such a great friend and partner in this journey.
Hey, thank you, Kyle. I look forward to coming back and giving you play-by-play what happened in Switzerland. But thank you for this audience. It's really appreciated.
Of course. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.
All right. Take care.